Okay, so here's our final lecture for this section, and we're just going to start off by talking about James Madison really getting himself inheriting quite a complex set of circumstances. Um, uh, Basically, a weakened military situation left over because of Thomas Jefferson, and then sets of events that are going to lead to a war, the War of 1812. So first of all, Native Americans are involved in this one. And here we have Tecumseh, chief of the Shawnees. He wants to unite all natives in resistance to white settlement. And going back to part of what we're also dealing with is a legacy of Jefferson, where he offered natives a choice of conversion to settled farmers or migrate west of Mississippi. So here's that ultimatum again, give to natives. Now, we're going to see that Andrew Jackson and his policies are going to go even to a further extreme when it comes to Native American relations. But again, here's that idea of Jefferson wanting to civilize Native Americans, with that being a kind of a way to integrate them in. And, you'll end up seeing this later. We'll discuss this. Some Cherokee, for example, later on, are going to have black slaves, and other Native Americans there are going to live nearly like white southern plantation owners. So, I mean, this is kind of a tragic episode that keeps happening back and forth all the way up until we get California and Oregon, when we consolidate all the territories. In the meantime, Native Americans are going to continue to be divided and not united, and ultimately slowly losing all of their lands. So the War of 1812, okay, it's a war that most people don't know about. I had an interesting little comment I put on the top of your reading and viewing. I heard someone say, right, Northerners wanted to take Canada. Southerners were wanting to take Spanish-controlled areas such as Florida. And then you had Madison, who was wanting peace but gave in to Congress that was controlled by the Hawks. And there was a lot of circumstances in which we're going to find. I'll have you watch the crash course on. I think it's good. Some of you love that guy, others don't. But I think this one will kind of help solidify this what's going on with this war. I was in Canada this summer, just a few months ago, and I was at the bar, and there was a history major there. He also lived in America for a while. And by the way, I want to say, I think one of the things that really blew my mind when I was in Canada is that I had this kind of American arrogance. Maybe is not the fair word, but it's kind of fair. I really didn't think of them as another country. Until I was grilled at the border. And then you go in, and Canadians absolutely identify themselves as their own country. Well, of course. But I think because, many Canadians that are living in the United States, until they say, if they have certain accents, like, it's about time. You're like about for about or something. But you wouldn't know. Anyhow, you go there, you do start hearing a lot more stronger Canadian accents. And one of the things, I'm going long-winded about this young bartender, he tells me, yeah, we won you guys, we beat you guys and burned your White House down in the War of 1812. And I was like, what do you mean you guys did? The British did. And he's like, well, who do you think was fighting for the British? It was us, Canada. And by the way, the Queen of England is still on their money. But we're not going to have a history lesson of Canada right now. It's an interesting history. So, yeah, we had really a war with Canada / Britain. And they did burn down the White House. One of the worst kind of symbolic acts to ever happen to the United States was by Canadian / British. So just think about that. So 9/11 was big enough, right? And of course, the lives that we lost It's a different context altogether, but let us just add, on our own home soil, by another nation state, this is the worst we ever had to face. Okay, just saying. Now, so what ultimately happened? We had June 18, the United States declared war on Britain. So the United States declared war. April 27th, 1813, American forces captured York, the capital of Upper Canada. They later burned some public buildings, so we did that ourselves. British troops invaded Washington, D.C. in 1814, 2 years later burning the Capitol and the White House. American naval forces were then defeated. A peace treaty was signed in Belgium. And under General Andrew Jackson won the Battle of New Orleans. And in this war, Andrew Jackson really made a reputation for himself, which is going to show up later. But I still didn't really cover, what this war was all about. I'm going to go ahead and show you this documentary clip. But I just wanted to kind of point out just a few more things before I end here, and then let you watch that documentary that you should take notes on. This is also the war that inspired the Star-Spangled Banner, the national anthem. Okay, so as one person said, it's the war that we think we won. It's the war that Canadians know they won, and it's the one that Britons doesn't care about because everybody forgot, or are glad to think everybody forgot. I forget how the saying goes, but I mean, it's interesting because it's a long ago war. It's a war that took place a long time ago that many people don't think about, but I think it's quite relevant. And like many other historical events, people seem to have blind spots in them, and in regards to what we want to highlight and what we want to remember. So the memory of history is interesting, right? Like the Quasi-War. By the way, did you know that the United States invaded the Soviet Union at the end of World War II? We actually had troops there. We've invaded Russia. They never invaded us. That's like a little known fact. Just thought to throw that your way. But I'm just going to end it there and go ahead and play the Star Spangled Banner. Soak it in a little bit. And, I hope you have a good week.